Hello, everybody. Rich Ramirza, East Rosebud Fly Shop here. This is another East Rosebud Studios podcast, and I'd like to say hello to my co-host, my beloved co-host, Brandon Booty.
What's up, everyone? How you doing?
You know, I think I've got some good news as far as our podcast. I don't know if I've told you this, but the Nielsen ratings came in for Fly Fishing Podcasts, and we have grown from 6 listeners to 10. So fucking give it up on that.
That's huge growth.
That's huge growth. I mean, to go from 6 sets of ears to 10 in just a month I'm fucking rolling here, right?
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, well, and you know, for those of you out there, you know, the 10 of you now, remember, we're only doing this for you to buy shit on my website. Let's not lose focus of that, right?
Yeah, right.
www.eastrosebudflyandtackle.com. Again, you know, that's pretty, you know, gregarious of me just coming out and saying that, right? I mean, you know, we're putting this on Instagram and Facebook, and, you know, there's folks around listening to it. You know, there's 10. But I mean, well, that's why we're doing it, right?
Yeah.
That's right. You know, if you're listening to any shit online, like I've said, man, they're doing it to sell you stuff. So anyway, so it's good to be back. Since our last podcast, I went out to Oregon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I fished 2 days in Oregon, motherfucker.
Nice.
Well, it was beautiful. Water conditions were superb, but once again, I got my ass kicked fishing for Chinook.
Any luck at all?
No, we saw a couple. I mean, I caught one zombie and ended up, you know, hooking in, and then we're having maybe a 12+ pound silver break off, but it was pretty much a bust. And you know, we did a podcast, Sex Sells, a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And I took my significant other on this trip with me. First trip ever with her.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
She outfished you?
Yes, yes, she did. I mean, she did. She fucking outfished me, and I mean, we weren't fishing the same way, but it didn't matter. She still outfished me, and she was so loose. She's so fucking loose. Just it's beautiful. It's fun. Nice to be here with you, and just, you know, just like we were saying, just total experience type value, right? And I'm fucking sitting there going, I better catch a fucking king. That's get it? Yeah. And so, you know, the lady's just like, oh, plop, boom, 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 silver, just like that. So it's like, you know, they're just better.
You put the pressure on yourself, and she's like, oh, whatever happens, happens. And
that's my point.
Yeah,
that's my point. Yeah. But that's, I mean, let's face it, I win with that.
Yeah,
that's right.
Definitely.
That's right. And
that's the only way you win, you know.
It's the only way, and also getting a chance to, you know, kind of see that smile, digging it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's enough of that bullshit. So what we're going to talk about today is really apropos, because we're in the last week of November here in the Big Sky Country. We're having a beautiful, beautiful early winter. Not really a lot of snow where we're at in, you know, southeast Montana, but it's still been beautiful. And what's going to happen here in the next week, 2 weeks, is the brown trout spawn on the Bighorn River.
Yeah.
That's in this area. That is the biggest whorehouse fishing there is.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Well, what do I mean by that? Talk to me.
You know, I guess in a whorehouse, you know, there's an abundance of them, you know. You go in there, you know.
This is the deal. You get thousands of brown trout that move into areas of, I'll just say, the upper river. And they're really accessible on foot, let alone by drifting and stopping. And, you know, they're on reds, and they get the living fuck pounded out of them. You know, and it's when I first got into the sport in the 90s, I mean, I did it. I did it. I mean, a local guide, a local outfitter, he cured me fast on fishing eggs. Fast. You know, I went into a local fly shop back in the day, Rainbow Run. And, you know, hey, you know, what should I do? Go to the Horn and, you know, fish these eggs, fish these worms. I'm like, fuck, okay. I know what the fuck I was doing. Catch trout. And I go up there and holy shit, god damn, think you're fucking good. That's how easy it is. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. 100%,
I mean, that's how easy it is. And, you know, and I went up there for that 2, 3, 4 week run, December-ish on the Bighorn, fishing that, you know, that ham and eggs, whatever they call it, which is a chartreuse, orange egg, and standard chenille San Juan worm dropper, and drifting that shit in 15, 18 inches of water, right?
Yeah.
I went to work one night after having one of these great days, and again, this is back in the 90s, and a friend of mine, a local outfitter named Jeremy Gilbertson, who's just a badass guide outfitter, been doing it a long time on the Horn. I showed him all these pictures of all these spawning fucking big, beautiful brown trout, and of course, in every one of them, there's a fucking chartreuse egg sticking in its grill, right? And he looks at me, just kind of deadpans it, and I'm expecting him to think, oh, God, fuck, good job, Richie, good, yeah. The dude's like looking at it and he says, you know, what's that? I'm like, well, that's an egg. He's like, you're fishing spawning beds for spawning brown trout. You didn't do dick.
Yeah, yeah. You didn't do anything special.
And just like that, my hard dick went, wow, just like that. And that right there, that forever personally cured me of fishing eggs, especially on the Horn up there at this time.
And on beds.
Yeah, I mean, just totally. I mean, just totally. But I'm bringing this up is because for a long time in this area, there's an absolute straight up culture of hero fishing, and that's because, you know, these people that go up there and fish eggs, they think they're a fucking hero, you know, and that's really kind of what it is. It's hero season on the Horn, and the population on the Horn in the last 5 to 7 years has no doubt dropped.
Yeah.
Couple of huge high water years, some shitty fucking management by, you know, Bureau of Reclamation.
Yeah, we don't even know what this high water is, you know.
That
just ended.
Yeah,
that was super high.
It probably fucked up the rainbow spawn again or something like that. But the point is that, you know, that fishery has dropped as far as numbers. So they haven't made any effort whatsoever to bolster those numbers other than, of course, let nature take its course, which is what they should do.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's interesting to me how, you know, what I just referenced as far as accessibility and pounding these fish in the shallow water, they don't give a fuck. I mean, you know, fishing game don't give a fuck.
No, they don't. I think the guides do a good job at kind of holding people accountable out there.
Yeah, but there's no December. There's no December. Yeah, there's no December
out there. You know, so
not really.
In the springtime, it's different.
You'll definitely, if you're on the Horn in the spring and you got some dude posting up on a rainbow bed, yeah, you're going to get some harsh fucking cat calls from a guide, no doubt. But my point is that it's not regulated, and Montana Fish and Game don't care. And you know, there's been some concerns about brown trout in Montana. I think the Big Hole had some real decrease in numbers, so there's concern. It's interesting to me how, and I got to clarify here, I'm a retailer in the industry and I sell eggs, motherfucker. That's right. I don't sell trout beads. I wouldn't do that, at least at this point. Kidding. But I sell eggs because the way I'm coming off right now is less arrogance than just sport-minded fly angler. That's kind of the deal. Just like when Jeremy called me out for really not doing anything back in the day, right?
Yeah. And if you don't know, you don't know. Some people just don't know, but then they have to learn, and then, you know.
He taught me in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That's right. So from a sports standpoint, I'm not going to go fucking do that. Now, you know, am I Mr. Pier here? Hell no. If I was floating that baby, doing my streamer thing, throwing my buggers, pow, 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 I'm going to put that shit on plenty of reds probably. And I'm going to probably draw plenty of brown trout off of their areas. So it isn't that as much as it is just that guy that sits there and works that area all fucking day. Because you know the story, they're not pulling fish off of those areas. You're not going to spook the other ones to leave that area. They're not leaving.
No,
And so that's right.
They're focused on spawning.
They're just like we are.
Yeah.
Just like we are. That's right. So I guess the point of this podcast is, I mean, is this ethical? And of course, I say it is not.
I would agree with you.
They, with the numbers the way they are, they should probably shut that fishery down for the month of December, at least in that upper 3 miles. I mean, I'm not into closing fisheries, but Montana does a pretty good job of recognizing issues, especially with water temperatures, and curbing the number of anglers out on the water because of hoot owl and other, full closures.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me that you got a fishery like the Bighorn that's had a decrease in numbers. However, the decrease in numbers is they're fucking big, aren't they?
Yeah, the average size fish went up.
They're big.
Yeah.
Nice fish on the Bighorn. So, that's a value. And instead of 6,000 per mile, 2,500 per mile or 2,000 or whatever I heard when it first plummeted, when it really dropped about 5 seasons ago, it got down to like something like, supposedly 1,600 to 1,800 per mile, which is not a lot of fish. But they're big. So you want to catch a 2-foot fish right now with an egg in 18 inches of water. Now's the fucking time. But
ethically, no.
No. And here it is. Let's face it. If you go into a cat house, and you know what I mean. Okay. If you go into a cat house, you're going to get something, but do not think you're a fucking Romeo.
That's a good way to put it.
It's true. You're going to get it. You're going to get it. But don't think you're a Romeo. And that's what hero fishing on the Bighorn in December is. It's guys thinking they're a fucking Romeo.
I don't see why you don't want to throw a streamer anyways.
Well, because that type of fishing and that kind of focus on that time of the year there. I mean, I literally know guys that come in like clockwork every December, or they'll call and they'll say, "Hey, Rich, are the browns on the beds up on the Bighorn?" I mean, like that's literally their fucking singular focus is, are these fish spawning? And they are clueless. And, hey, Mr. Retailer, I'm long past giving somebody the fucking rub on, what's right and wrong. They don't fucking care what I think.
Yeah.
Right? And, if Fish and Game doesn't care, why should I care?
That's true.
I mean, really, if they don't care, I mean, it's, who am I? I did it that first season or two back in the day until somebody set me straight. And that's kind of what this is it's just kind of from a sportsman's perspective. And I emphasize that because personally, I'm not in it to just rack up trout. You go through that stage.
Yeah.
And now you have your way, you have your ethics, you have your style, all of it. And I just don't think fishing a double egg setup on the Horn in December is really fucking ethical.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah. And, it sounds like some people know, right? They're here every December. So they've had to have had an encounter where someone told them, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't do that."
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing is that so when I used to actively fish the Bighorn and wade the Bighorn in the winter, and I really don't do it anymore. I've kind of gravitated towards this wanting to fish saltwater in the winter and get my days in that way. And goddamn, I used to be a tough motherfucker when it comes to fishing in the cold. And I am just not anymore. Doesn't mean I won't do it. But the whole, it's 8 above, putting in at 3 mile. But, breaking ice off our guides till 1:30, 2 o'clock, maybe till we get out at 3.
That's the worst thing about it is your guy's icing up.
Oh, man, pound. Goddamn, my fingertips are sore. It just, I literally got my one and only case of legit frostbite on a few fingertips by fishing the Horn a while ago. And I don't fish for trout as much in the winter as I used to. But the point is that how well it fishes in the winter.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And that means even if it's 8 above. So the Bighorn continues to be a world-class blue ribbon fishery. I guess the point of a lot of this is just give it a break in December. Don't buy eggs from me. Right? Don't buy any fucking eggs from me. And I mean that. Rarely will I say don't buy something.
Yeah. And I think I think that especially in the spring, they're taking these orange scuds and pink scuds as eggs.
Oh, you mother! So, yeah, of course. That's a yeah. I mean, and I love that. That's a good comment, because you know how you can get away with, you can get around all of my arrogance, right, and all of my holier than thou advice, because that's kind of what I'm giving here. Just fish a fucking orange scud. You can say it's a scud. There's a bunch of scuds in the river, and they'll eat it as a fucking egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't sit on a bed with it.
Just don't sit on a bed with it. Move down 10 feet and then back up 10 feet for 4 hours. Well, that's what it is. And that's what we're talking about here, right? In the springtime, guides on the Horn, man, they fuck like eggs and beads are like, that's common now, right?
There are some that do it, yeah. I mean,
I holy shnikes. I mean, 12, 15 years ago, when beads just kind of started to be getting into trout as opposed to just the Alaska thing. And for the audience of 10 that doesn't know this, but a bead is a plastic bead run through your tippet, your leader, and then it is pegged, which means it is secured on your leader so it doesn't slide up or down. And then the angler ties off a bare hook, an inch or 2.5 inches, whatever, below the bead. And then that is a absolutely fucking lethal egg combination. I mean, it works so good, it's not even funny, right?
Yeah.
You know that from experience. Have you pegged a bead professionally?
I pegged the squirmy worms, but I don't peg the beads.
I'm not even gonna fucking get into that.
I don't peg the beads. But you know, I have clients come on my boat and they're like, "Yeah, well, yesterday, they're with a different angler. We were throwing, we were throwing egg patterns," and I'd be like, "Hey, well, we'll throw an orange scud on,
I took a trip down to the Platte. It was a great trip. It was a complimentary guided trip with a competent guide. I'm happy as shit. I go down there and the dude's got my setup, and I'm like, I want to fish streamers. He's like, no, let's nymph today. And he's got 3 flies set up on this rig. He's got a fucking pegged bead, a squirmy wormy, and another pegged bead. That's his 3 fly setup to fish in the winter on the Platte. And I'm like, motherfucker, that is not happening. I'm not going to do that. And on the Bighorn, what percentage of setups in April or May are beads or eggs?
I don't know.
You don't know. You don't even want to say. You don't even want to say.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are throwing, like I said, throwing scuds though, and they're taking that as an egg.
Absolutely, and that was kind of my point.
I think
that's my point. But it's interesting because here I am talking about protecting the Horn when it comes to the brown spawn in December, whereas there's an active working group of guides on that fishery in April, May, June, or May, June, whatever the rainbow run is there. And it's interesting to me that a guide would just, would go to that, and because, you're responsible for getting clients on fish, no doubt, but the difference with the Bighorn in December as opposed to spring is a lot of times water level. Water can be bigger in May, it can be bigger in June, right?
Yeah.
And in December, right now, it's so fucking easy to do what I'm talking about. That adds to the rub to me on why this is a no-no.
Yeah. Just sight fishing and, shooting fish in the barrel,
Sight fishing them with eggs.
Yeah,
wow.
Not you. I'm just saying that. That's what the unethical people are doing,
All right. Well, that's going to conclude the first part of, fishing the Bighorn in December. Thank you very much, and we'll be back with part 2 shortly.